Hey, what's up guys, it's your boy Patience, and I decided to come at you guys with a little new one. So in this one I just want to do a little bit more Star Citizen and just going over a little playthrough with the security PYAM 3 to 5, or we could just say security 3 to 5. So this obviously was something that I was hoping to have a lot of fun with, and obviously we're seeing the beautiful ranges of colors that the CIG team was able to squeeze in this one little scene here, along with my Aurora decor from the AC division, as I'm in Pyro here. And well, the idea is just to make it here and get me one or two of those red cards, so I can go back to checkmate and you know, kind of proceed so I can get me my my P8 AR guys. Obviously I'm enjoying the plethora of detail taken into consideration, you know, the volumetric clouds and the lighting shining through, the reflections, as we're seeing here, and I'm just literally just taking my time in with this one, so I'm just going to take a minute here guys. So as I touch down here, obviously I'm now part of this sector, and this is actually my first time ever trodden into this region guys. So the idea is just to scope, keep my head on that swivel as it would be told, keep my eyes open and just scout about, because at this stage the understanding from my perspective is that a lot of the items that I'm looking for will be in crates. Obviously what I'm looking for is the P8 AR, so I'm thinking the only place to find these would be in crates, but here we go. The sound of this gun is just awesome guys. One of the things I love the most, the lighting here is just awesome, especially if I'm able to render catching these the deep darks, you know, via the contrast. It's just amazing guys, and this is why I was having so much fun here. It is a bit hard knowing that everything is hardcore kind of grit. You know, we've got Grim Hex, we've got Pyro, we've got, I guess you could say, Hardcore. And so there's obviously other regions. I reckon Crusader looks a bit tacky-yacky as well. This is one of my favourite shootouts here, guys. These guys were fighting pretty darn hard back, and I found it hard to keep up with these goons. I'm not sure what gun this guy could have been using. I'm guessing it was the pulverizer. I know most players like to run in and just kind of take things on by surprise, but I really do love to stand off guys, so I do try to take advantage of these moments when I can, if I can, the best I can. I obviously have a few path runs, so I'll be uploading those where I'm kind of just going in pretty hard and swiping guys out, as if I was like a solo SWAT squad. And that is how I like to move sometimes as well guys. Sometimes I can be as brutal If you've ever seen my Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I play two styles, very stealthy. Sometimes I can be very brutal, and it's the same translation I brought over into, or transcript I brought over into Star Citizen as well, guys. I can switch my playthrough. Now once I've done these guys, the idea is to figure out where do I go from here. I'm not necessarily too much of a fan of trying to figure out where the next, position I'm supposed to kind of move to. I like to know that I can, go into an area and just sweep it out. Not necessarily trying to find, cracks to crawl through and steps to climb, because that's not really how I do things. So on that note, Power is not necessarily a place that I probably will return to on a regular. I will probably try my best to stay away from, in actual fact, until we start seeing more locations similar to Horizon Siege, where shootouts are done in a more fancy kind of location rather than too much of this gritty stuff, because it is really hard on the eyes sometimes as well, guys. As contradictive as that may seem. Now obviously I have no reason to kill here besides the fact of wanting to gain my key cards. Now I have noticed that the lighting that comes from my helmet can sometimes disorientate me a little bit, leaving me slightly dazzled. Obviously being dazzled is not the best kind of situation a player wants to feel when going under fire, but here we have another shootout, and we may see that the lighting kind of does affect me a little bit here. Obviously if you're shining light in someone's face, they're not necessarily going to be able to hit you, but you'll be able to see everything that you're shining your light on very easily. And so that was the issue that I was having. I've been having at certain points and certain aspects within the title, the light can sometimes be blinding for me. I never used to be fond of that plasma bomb, but it's really grown on me. It's like the more you use it, the more it begins to kind of like weigh on you. Now I wouldn't mind these kind of locations being the way how they look, but preferably if I was the one that damaged it, so it looks kind of like Siege of Horizon. Everything looks kind of neat and clean and in its place. I go there, we start a crazy firefight out, and now Siege of Horizon or Horizon now looks like this, just a tacky mess, sitting in rubble. That'll work best for me. Like I said, I love the standoffs, but I am also in light tier armor on my core and on my arms. This means I'm only able to carry so much rounds at a time. So I depend on my backpack quite a lot, guys. obviously I'd like to see more physics with the blood, you know, dripping down the walls and splatting on the floor, you know, like a pool of blood. And blood obviously has its it has its features, I guess you could say. Whereas sometimes it can be very trickly, similar to waterish, and then sometimes it can be very hard. It can jellify. It can obviously stain. So blood it's very diverse within its own right. Here I'm just trying to find my way through and get used to the environment, because it's my first time to pyro, doing this solo. I have no idea what I'm doing and I have no idea where I'm going. This was a very interesting situation. I kind of throw my gun at this bit here, and I kind of moved a bomb off its mark. And somehow that worked, but I couldn't seem to hit them with my bullets. Kobe had actually had to drop on me at that point, but it was either really stupid or somewhat glitched, but because of that I was able to kill it instead of it killing me, of course. So obviously, as you can see here, when I'm playing with the dark contrast, at least hopefully if it comes out this way in my decoding as well, it makes it really hard to not only see your opponents, but also to navigate around, which I felt to be very fun, because it can be very disorientating yet again, because you just don't know where you're going, and sometimes you can double back on yourself and stuff. It's quite daunting too, because you never know if an enemy's coming out, or where an enemy is, so you're almost kind of like thinking, you know, depending on a hit marker, and so that can be pretty tricky. And so to find it obviously makes it a little bit more complex. This obviously looks like a standoff, and I can hear NPCs in the background, but I have no idea where they are at this stage. I'm not sure how much of them there are, and if they're going to come running out at me, or what kind of ammunition they may have, or kind of weapons they may be holding. So because I'm in light armor, I'm trying to be as tippy-toe as possible, quick off my mark, and ensuring that they can't catch me off my sixes.
It's on now. Laying down fire.
But none of these NPCs. I've made a little mistake here. I've actually seen where this bit here where gamers on YouTube would actually take those two kind of drum thingies that I just went walking by and move them across the room and then climb up on them. So I might double back into Pyro at some stage just for that, because I really do want my P8 AR, guys. But at the time, it hadn't come into my mind. Obviously, I'm kind of under the pressure here as well. Another thing is I didn't even have my my Pyro multi-tool, so I wouldn't have got far anyway. I'm not exactly sure how it works or where I'm supposed to bring those drums to climb up, but I know it's something that I have seen before when Pyro was roughly near newer in its state of being released onto, you know, us as gamers. These drums here, I'm supposed to, climb up on these, but I believe I'm supposed to move them to the other side of the room. But instead, I came through this stupid door and had to re-enter the building. So I do double back and make the run. I believe majority of the NPCs are respawned at this stage as well, obviously, which is a downturn. But taking that into consideration, because I did enjoy myself, I didn't mind doubling back. I found it to be pretty fun. I didn't drop once, so I didn't need to kind of like respawn in any way. I came in a did I come in the Aurora? I believe I arrived in the Aurora, and obviously you can't switch out your bed in the Aurora for a medical bed. So this was just a run that it was just one time, one serve. Fortunately, my experience from the paths and from the ASD helped me with this one. As you saw, because that guy standing there, because I don't like killing civilians, I figured the guy coming up behind him would have been another civilian, but I was so wrong, so he caught me off my mark as well.
It's on now. The toss.
But I just felt like the more times I went over this, not kind of like understanding where the enemies would be located and situated, but I was just kind of getting a finer understanding of my of the environment of Pyro, this sector anyway, because I don't really like using that map HUD that they force on the top left of the screen. I would actually like if we could switch it on and switch it off, because it's not something that I like to depend on at all. As you can see here, I got caught twice now. This is the second time over, and I got hit twice. I hadn't realised that the NPCs would spawn back so fast out of sim. I would actually like if they actually got called in. So because I downed them, rather than just respawning, you know, they would say we need like reinforcements. You'd actually see them come flying in, you know, and make their way to this position rather than just like kind of ping in. But the CQ7 is such a beautiful gun. It don't just sound beautiful and look beautiful, but it is one of the most powerful guns, if you ask me, made by Beering, one of my favorites. It just totally gets the job done. Heavy armors, light tear, it just does a beautiful job. I had some real amazing playthroughs at the contested zones, but for some reason I lost those recordings, so I won't be able to upload those. It's actually there where I wanted to get my the gun that I've been looking for. Ooh, and taking that into consideration, tech, guns usually let off a lot of smoke when you shoot them, so I would like to see a lot more of that. And obviously, when you're shooting a lot of guns, the smoke left from the guns doesn't decay quickly. It can leave a room full of smoke for a very long time. So I'd like to get some of that. As we can see here, the smoke kind of vaporizes really quickly. I would like if it lingered a hell of a lot longer, you know. So if I was to walk into a room, I could say there was a gunfight here, guys. I think deaths, when the NPCs die, they could be a little bit more realistic too. It feels a little bit too orchestrated, a little too fake. I would like it to be a hell of a lot more real, and my bullets to have a lot more effect. You know, believability. I guess if I shoot you in your leg's injured. If I shoot you in your arm, and the pain that goes with it. But the NPC's reaction just feels a little too. I guess you could say. Queasy. Now that I've got this door open, I know I've got to keep all my doubles here. So I never stand right in front of the door as it opens. I always try to run alongside the door. Just in case the NPCs are able to get a peek at me and let off a round, just to give me an idea of where they may be situated in the room behind that damn door. I would have loved a lot more NPCs in this room. There's only like 2 that spawns, I believe, because it's the same number that was here the last time. And obviously, once they call for reinforcements, I wouldn't mind if they called for more units rather than just the same 2. Sometimes I believe they do.
Bring it.
I believe sometimes the NPCs.
Who's got a man hurt?
He didn't go down. I do believe sometimes the NPCs lay traps for us, which I think is pretty darn awesome. So once you, you know, like maybe clear a phase, maybe you pass out, so you got to go back and dummy back through. It's not just the same case scenario. Sometimes they leave traps for you this time, which I think is pretty darn nice. But there's still, I would like to see a lot more effort into that region. You know, some like reinforcements actually being called over, units that actually call for units to come, so you can try and take those guys out as soon as possible. So you got like your targets as you move into, you know, each section, and etc, etc. Just to add a little bit more spice to the to the gameplay, I guess. Not always keeping to, you know, like the basic books, but like you know, it is something that's going to happen if you go running into, you know, like maybe like an army base. You're going to have your colonels, you're going to have your overheads, and then you're going to have your basic soldiers, and you're going to have the ones that are going to want to kind of dictate how you move about, when you can move about, and how to strategically place their units in order to kind of flank. So, you know, I would like to see the same kind of customaries within Star Citizen as well. I think that would be a nice addition to the title. And this is a bit that I'm not really too fond of, because I was unawares of bringing my multi-tool and doing what I was supposed to. I got a little bit stuck here, and the idea when I got here was not really to climb around and jump around. It was mainly to get in and get out, get my goodies and dive the hell out. Now I can kind of see what Pyro is all about. It's kind of like an abandoned station, as it were, an abandoned location. But at the same time, it does kind of take away from that somewhat immersion. So I can't wait for other systems to be brought out, and I'm pretty sure a lot more systems that will be released out to us from this point are gonna be kind of like very similar to your Pyro, your Grim Hex, and all this stuff. And not in a negative way as such, but I am kind of getting sick and tired of it now, because it's like the same thing over and over and over. I want to see a little bit more Horizon. These places, Horizon, Microtech, and ArtCorp, they do look very similar. The rest of the verse does look very similar to these two places that I've mentioned as well. So I'd like to see a lot more alien locations. When I say alien, I mean locations that still look human, but very different to what we're used to. Maybe even modern day, very futuristic, etc. This will make me feel like I'm actually traveling through a universe rather than just traveling in like maybe just one system, because when we're at maybe like ArtCorp and then we go traveling over to Crusader, that's a very vast distance in real life terms. And then you go traveling over to Microtech, and then you got Hurston. All these regions kind of like look very similar. Then we got Nyx, and then we got Pyro. These are, systems that are, through jump gates. So they're even further away from, like just a planetary system or star system. So I would like to start seeing a lot more diversity with how the locations are plotted and, presented onto us. And also I would like to start seeing hospitals on moons and places to buy weaponry on moons, because so far these places are only restricted to like the center of the planet. You got to travel deep within the planet via the train system in order to get to the medical or to get to stores and stuff, and then obviously and then space stations. But I'd like to start seeing like purchasables or outlets or storefronts on moons, and obviously in places that we don't really have them yet, but common places where you would usually have these kind of places. And obviously sometimes when we're doing our little box runs, there will be outposts where you have like a solo guy just standing in a room, and there's lootables around, but there's no drinks, there's no food, there's no toiletry area. So it's like he ain't wearing a helmet, there's no lockers around. So so how does this person eat? How does this person live? Is it a robot kind of thing? It kind of pulls away from that immersion, because you kind of feel sorry for the fellow. So I would like to start seeing a lot more realism within the verse, guys. And I've also kind of been wondering, why don't we see kind of like, so far we ain't seen any women units within like the Nine Tails and etc. actually out on the battlefield, and we ain't seen no children. So are these things that we'll be looking forward to in the future? These things that we can say will be entering into the verse. The only females that we do see on the battlefield will be other players, which is kind of boring. Obviously we got height, size, build, etc, etc, etc. So these are some of the things that I'm really looking forward to. As you can see, as I'm about to climb out of this room here, I climbed up on this thing. That's exactly what I'm supposed to do at that last region that I was trying to tell you guys about, and I believe there might be something I climb up into or on, just like I have here, but it just totally slipped my mind. So my apologies for that, guys. I don't think I will be going back to Pyro to complete my playthrough. If I do get a P8 AR, it will be by some other means, guys, but most certainly not via this Pyro case scenario. Maybe when they do release the other two new systems, the PAAR will become a little bit more common a weapon, and so I'll probably be able to get my hands onto it then. But I hope you guys enjoyed what you was watching. If you did, you need those thumbs, those likes, and those comments down below. It's your boy Patience, guys. I'm gonna leave you with the rest of the video. Over and out.
I've got you covered.
About to pop up. I'll cover you. Thank you.